What's up, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Freja MMA podcast. I just wanted to take a bit of this time from the intro to say that you should be subscribed to us. We have all of our details down here for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and you're already on our YouTube channel, so you might as well subscribe there as well. Click the bell to get notifications and like and share the video. Now, without further ado, here is the interview with the one and only Banzai, Pannie Kianzad.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome everybody to a new episode of the Freja MMA podcast. I know that Joanne, my co-host, isn't with us, but today instead I have Pannie Kianzad on the side of me. So, first of all, I wanted to say congratulations on the recent success in the UFC. I know it's a place that you wanted to be in for a while. I know that you had all the stuff with the Tough House and everything. Can we start with that? So, how was it in the Tough House, in the Ultimate Fighter House? I know we don't really see a lot of the stuff that's going on with it. So, can we just first of all talk about that? How was it?
It was one of the best experiences fighting wise of my life. It was one of the most fun I had. Just to be under like a roof and just be training, and the whole focus is on you, and you get training, you get whatever you need, and you get to do whatever you want, like 6 to 7 weeks, and it was just like you got used to the cameras, and it felt like you got so many good opportunities, especially like it was all the stuff you saw on TV, when they picked out the teams and everything. That was so nerve-wracking, but it was exactly what you've been watching. And like when you're in that moment, you think, shit, I'm getting picked now. I'm not getting picked. It was pretty surreal. And just the whole thing of training and the two teams are going to like evaluate you, and maybe they will pick you. Am I going to get picked first, last? It's pretty nervous, but it was really fun. And I think if you can perform under those lights where there's no room for mistakes, because if you lose a fight, then you're out of the tournament, really. And I was pretty surprised I could perform without any of my coaches or friends or family. But I think that the rule they have, that they have no phones, no contact, that actually suits me very well.
You was able to concentrate more and not have any distractions, kind of thing.
Yeah. I thought it suits me really, really, really good. Like the only thing I really missed is just talk to my boyfriend and see my dog. That was really the stuff I missed when it came to being locked away, because when you're tired and you feel like not training, and I would say like we had like almost 5 hours of training every day, and like imagine being like a sore bruise like for 7 weeks. It was exactly like that. And our team, I'm not saying the other team didn't train as hard, but I'm saying it now, they didn't. It's like our team really pushed us really, really hard. I was pretty surprised the training was so hard, like coming, not that the training would be hard, that I kind of expected, but so hard, so close to the fight.
Okay, yeah, and especially, it's not usual that a MMA fighter will fight 3 or 4 times in the space of 6 weeks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I fought 2019, combined with tough fights and the fights I had, just like I fought 2 fights in 2 months just before I went in the house. So, and then I did 2 fights more in the house, and then I did another fight after. So I did, and then right a few months after Tough 2, like not a year, but almost a year. I fought like 6 times in a half a year, 6 fights. and that's what the tough included.
Oh,
There was a lot of fights for me 2019, and the finale happened. That was whatever happened. It was not the result we were after, but I did feel like I took a lot of the experience with me anyway. I'm the first ever Swede that comes to the finals, and I mean that means a lot. That's a huge thing, and I wish I would have been more fresh coming into the final. I was pretty worn out. I think all of us were. All of us that fought in the final, we were pretty worn out.
so after the show, did you like go back to Sweden to do your camp there, or was you staying stateside for that?
No, I was back at home. I think my last 3 weeks, I went to the States 3 weeks earlier, like before the fight. So I just, because it's in Vegas, and I fought in Vegas a couple of times, but it's still pretty dry air. So I just wanted to be ready. So we actually spent 3 weeks in a trailer park in Yuma, in Arizona.
Okay.
And that was pretty nice.
Yeah, and a lot of the Europeans as well, they will say that they don't have that much American experience, because they say that it's very different to fight in the States than it is in Europe. But on your side, you had fought in the US quite a few times under Invicta and things like that. So
I fought in the US since 2015. So almost 5 years I've been fighting in the States, and a lot of times in Vegas, and then in Kansas, and that's it. Vegas and Kansas, I think. Yeah.
so that was contested under featherweight, the whole tough. Yeah. So that was under featherweight, and then after that you then had one fight in Superior Challenge at a catchweight. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then after that you got the call up for the UFC, and then you returned to bantamweight. Could a return to featherweight be down the line for you as well, or are you perfect at bantamweight, would you say?
I would want to have more time if I would switch weight classes. There's no problem for me to make the featherweight mark, but I think especially fighting at featherweight against somebody that's a pretty big featherweight at that point, maybe. I would want to build a bit more muscle and stuff like that. So if I would fight featherweight, then I'm not ruling that out. If I get a good offer, that would be cool. But it's so light. The featherweight division is it's so thin. So I'm actually pretty shocked the UFC's not bringing in more of the featherweights from Invicta. You have people like Pam Stearns and Casey Young that are great 145ers. They are one of the best in the world. Right now the UFC's featherweight division is not shining. Even the girls in there are getting people that actually fight at 135. So there's no point. And I was pretty disappointed after Tough that we should have a big featherweight contender. We should have that. People always talk to me after and during. They were I know a lot of the girls were bitching a lot about when we were in the house that we're only 135ers, we're only doing this to get into the UFC. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like everybody else is doing it. Why is it any different now? But it's not that. I got intrigued that it was a 145 division. That means that I'm like, okay, so maybe we are 135ers, but that means we don't need to go through that. It's a horrible thing that's cutting weight, I think combined, normally I think, I cut from this point now to weigh in, I cut maybe 20 pounds. It's okay. I don't mind it anymore at all. Ever since I got my nutritionist 2 years ago, I have no problem with it.
So
I was kind of bummed out that the 145 didn't continue.
So you touched on it a bit there. I wanted to ask you your opinion on the state of women's MMA, especially in the UFC. You see some cards that would just have maybe one women's fight per card kind of thing. And coming from a place like Invicta, where they do have, exclusively women fights, and then you go to some. I've been on fan side and I've gone to some UFC fights, and some people will call the women's fights like piss breaks or something like that. It must feel so like. Yeah, it must feel so bad to hear stuff like that, especially as a woman fighter as well. How do you feel like the state of?
Yeah,
Sorry?
like the funny thing is exactly what you said. The people that say it's like piss breaks. The funny thing is that when that person says that this is a piss break and puts like 15 minutes into his life just bitching about girls fighting in the UFC, we're making so much money during those 15 minutes of him bitching about it's a piss break. I'm making loads of money. So I don't really care. I mean, we signed a contract to fight, and even though there's some people that say, women's fights is just like, why would they put like women in the UFC? It doesn't matter because I'm still making a living here, and you're not. You're sitting in front of a computer complaining. So, I mean, I don't really mind it. I'm like, so I'm gonna get pissed off because I'm making money and you're not.
True.
So I don't really care about it. I mean, I started doing MMA when females didn't were fighting in the UFC. So my first 2 years of doing pro MMA, 2013 was when females were allowed to fight in UFC. So we've come a long way, and I see that a lot of the female fights gets a lot of attention. It's we've grown so much, and just look at the title fight between Joanna and Wheelie, I think that's her name, the Chinese girl.
Whaley,
It's
yeah.
huge. Everybody even if you talk to people that don't even know what MMA is, they get like super hyped about Holly Holmes. Never seen her fight. So I think we've come a long way. I just think that a dude sees one girl's fight that's, okay, let's say it's super boring. And they're like, oh my God, such bad fight. Why do even women fight in the UFC? It's just like, it's no idea just putting any effort into it, no energy.
So what would you say would be your way forward for women's MMA? Would it be to strengthen up the roster a bit in the UFC, especially in the featherweight division, and because we see a lot of women just jumping weight classes instead of filling up one division, kind of thing?
I think people are jumping because sometimes when you only get one chance, they're like, okay, you can get into UFC, you have to fight 135, and they're like, oh shit, I'm not even a 135, I need to do this, or else I won't get a contract. And then when the new weight classes came, the 125 came, the 145 came, and a lot of the strawweights jumped up to flyweights, which is like, I'm killing myself. I know a lot of strawweights. Some girls, they walk so high, so heavy. It's they weigh the same as me off season, but they fight strawweight. It's crazy. I don't even know how to do it. I especially me, like I went from the past 2 years, I pulled down my off season weight like 7 kilos. That's a lot of weight, just because I didn't like to. I don't want my camp to be about losing weight, and it's not anymore. I'm just training. To get better. I'm not even thinking about losing weight. It just happens by itself.
Yeah, especially that you said you have now started work with nutritionists and things like that. I heard that that's really helping the MMA game and people cutting weight correctly and things like that.
Look, I don't need to think. He just puts everything in front of me, just like, this is what you need to do. This is exactly how you need to do it, and then I just do it. There's no problem. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you will be fighting Bethe Correia at UFC 250 in Brazil. So you actually be going to your opponent's hometown. So how do you see that fight going, and what do you think of your opponent?
I mean, I love this fight. It's so funny. I actually I got a question when I was at an interview from a Swedish MMA page 4 years ago, and they're like, if you got into UFC now, who would you fight right now? And I was like, I would fight Bethe Correia because I know that it's going to be a hell of a fight, and I like her fighting style, and I like her toughness, and her style suits me well. It's a fight where I can shine. And it's not only that I can shine; it puts me in a position where I really work from. I actually working for my job because it's gonna be a hell of a fight. And but that's the thing I like about it. I don't like to, I could call out anybody, anybody, and it could be a person that not even made a UFC debut. It could be a person that only did one fight in UFC, but I feel that I come so much further than that. And even though I've just been in UFC for a year, I don't feel like that because I've been fighting a lot of the girls in the top 10 in the world in the 135 division. So I just felt that our experience matched up, even though I haven't been fighting here for so long.
Yeah, and I'll just touch on this as well. When the season finale happened of The Ultimate Fighter and after the fight and everything, I was quite surprised that you wasn't signed directly from that, and another Swedish fighter was signed during that season, and then we saw you with a dominant performance at Superior Challenge, and you did seem quite, I'm not sure if aggravated is the right word, but fired up to get back in the UFC, to make sure that you were the one that was put into that spotlight. Is that correct from what we saw?
I just feel like after I got let go, I was it was a lot of different emotions because I've been competing for 15 years, and I was like I came to a point that I was like, so I came all the way here. Maybe it's not meant to be, I was actually thinking a lot about starting another life because I was thinking, no, I don't think that was the right decision to cut me. I think I'm definitely 100 times better than the top 15 division. It's I felt so overlooked, especially what I did on Tough. I think I was amazing, honestly. And on Tough, I thought I was amazing, and and then people will like say that I wasn't dominant enough, I wasn't this enough, and that if it's not gonna happen now, it won't happen. And I was actually people like friends and close persons to me came actually talked to me about thinking about retiring, like telling me, maybe encouraging me to retire. And that's actually where I got the most mad. Like I didn't get so mad that they let me go because I didn't know that it would be that way for a fact, that it would cut anybody that lost. But they actually told us after that they cut everybody that lost on the card. That even though it doesn't make any sense for doing that first time ever on a finale, but like I got close people who encouraging me to quit fighting because it was like, don't waste more of your time because it's not gonna happen. Honestly, exactly like that. And that's what made me really mad. That I'm like, don't kiss up to me just because I went to Tough and had some TV time, and then you pretend that I'm not good enough the day after. And it just and after the Superior fight, my manager told me, it's like, I know you just been on Tough and it was a big experience, but the opponent I got, it wasn't an easy opponent. I got another opponent from Bellator. I'm like, every time I fought a Superior, we try to get the best fight, not just like something I could win, because I don't need that. I know I'm top 10 in the world, so I don't need that. So, and he told me it's going to be a pretty tough opponent, but I want you to like, don't think about anything else than getting your hand raised. And we got Uni, and she had some big wins over big names over Cindy Danois, and she was close to getting a title shot in Bellator. So I took the opportunity to fight in Stockholm, and it's pretty close to me. So yeah, kind of in the same country. So and I was actually just like trying it out, because I was like, if I still feel the happiness of fighting, and even though it's superior and now UFC, will I still keep fighting? And I did enjoy it, and I got a new addition to my team as well, and another coach just before the superior fight, and we got a really good solid team right now, and it hasn't always been like that. You know, the fights I've been to in Invicta hasn't always been like planned out for me. Sometimes I went over with no coach, and sometimes I went over not, after 18 months out of injury and stuff like this. So not all the times have been, perfect at all. Not even for the superior fight. I actually didn't have my head coach with me.
Oh, wow.
And not even in my debut in Vegas either in July, after I didn't have my head coach with me. So not everything has been like have been perfect for my fights. But even though I'm trying to perform, even though I don't have everybody with me. Anything can happen. Everybody can get sick. Everybody can get like stuff to do, like, and they can't come. And I still need to go and perform. So sometimes everything is against you. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah, because I saw in a couple of interviews, and I'll go back to the superior challenge thing again. You were saying like, if you wasn't with me from the beginning, then you shouldn't be with me like when I'm up at the top and things like that.
Exactly. I mean, if anybody sees my interviews and stuff like the podcast or anything, and feel like, oh shit, I've been that person that just like didn't, it's so funny because people were like, I live in a small town, and some people will come up and like feel pity for me, and I could get like really mad, and I don't get mad that easy, and I was feeling like getting into a brawl with somebody in town just because somebody made me feel like that I should feel sorry for myself, that it's a pity that I'm where I am. I'm like, I feel so mad even thinking about it. So and a lot of the people that didn't think that I could make it, getting back in the UFC, they just like, I just think that they stopped trying to be a Pannie fan. But that's okay. I don't need anybody. Honestly, I don't. I mean, I have my team, and that's it.
Would you say that the Swedish MMA fan is quite quick to jump off of the bandwagon whenever something is going wrong for the fighters?
I had a lot of good Swedish fans, but something I've seen, especially being around fights, and lately I've been commentating a lot of fights too. I commentated to UFC events in Sweden and in Copenhagen. You could see, especially when Gustafsson fights, there's a lot of turning points for a lot of Swedish fans. They're so supportive before he's fighting, but if God forbid he makes a mistake, it's like they just disappear, and the people are so good at talking shit sometimes. But I think in general the Swedish fans are pretty supportive. I do. I have a lot of people that follow me since I started doing amateur fights, and they still follow me. And I think that if you're a true fan, it doesn't matter like if somebody's losing and stuff, because it's a fight. Anything can happen. I lost 3 fights in a row. It was heartbreaking. But then I fought like I felt like top 10 girls, and you can only do. I can only do whatever I can in that 15 minutes I have. It might not be the best I could do, like maybe sometimes, but I'm really trying to be the best fighter on my worst day, if I could say it like that.
Yeah, and you're saying that as well. You've been commentating on some of the Swedish cards and some of the UFC cards, but I think I've seen you at almost every event that we have been to as well. I know that your partner is also a fighter, and you are a true MMA fan, like you were saying.
No, I am, and not only of the UFC. I mean, I didn't start watching UFC. I started watching Strikeforce, and I watch a lot of Invicta fights. I mean, I'm trying to keep up with the girls that are fighting Invicta because I know they're gonna come to UFC. And I watch a lot of Cage Warriors, the ONE FC, a lot of UK shows, and there's a lot of big shows that are growing in Sweden. I mean, my boyfriend is making his pro debut in a good event in Sweden, Fight Club Rush, and they're giving him a couple of fights before too in amateur. So I mean, we're really growing, and I'm really interested in just like general the MMA fights, and not only like the big league. I love
Yeah,
watching the small events as well.
good shout out there for Fight Club Rush in my hometown of Västerås. Everyone should check that out. So yeah. Again, you say there's a lot of fighters that should come over from Invicta to the UFC that you have had your eye on for a while and eyeing up the competition. Would you say that there are some, or who would you say are some of the Swedish stars of tomorrow that should be coming up to those bigger rankings soon?
My friend that I actually get a lot of sparring from before my fights, Cornelia Holm. She's a 125, 135 fighter. She has a couple of fights right now under her record, and I think a few more good fights for her, a good couple of wins. I think she's a good prospect for the 125 and UFC or other promotions. And we have a couple of other Swedish, Malin Hermansson, and we have a couple of amateurs going pro right now that are doing really good. And I mean the guys too. We have a lot of the Swedish guys that are going from amateur to pro after doing a couple of championships. I think we're doing really good with our amateur team, with our amateur national team. They've been putting in a lot of work, and we are winning a lot of big medals, gold medals, and stuff at championships. So I think the MMA community in Sweden has been growing a lot. It's a mainstream sport. You can see that now. It's growing so much that people started talking about MMA, but they haven't even watched real MMA from the beginning. It's getting that big. It's good in some ways, and the only problem I see is that if you want to start doing MMA, it's really expensive. Because when I started, I didn't even remember I paid more than a couple hundred kroners every half a year. I don't even know, but now it's like if you want to get a membership someplace and you want to do jiu-jitsu, you want to do MMA, you want to do striking, you have to pay like more than 1,500 a month just to do it. So that's the only thing. But I'm happy to be a part of MMA, not just fighting, just like commentating wise. It's something I really want to do after I'm done fighting. To like keep commentating and following MMA and writing about MMA and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd say that the amateur scene definitely doesn't get the credit it deserves, especially in the mainstream MMA audience. They probably still don't know about the World Championships and the MMA Association and things like that. So yeah, it's great that you are kind of spreading the word out there about the amateur scene, especially in Sweden, who has brought up a lot of gold medalists as well.
Mm.
So I saw from your last fight that you were repping Malmö Muay Thai. Does that mean that you have left training in Copenhagen, or do you still do both?
No. I have my main MMA in Copenhagen, so that's like I've been there for. Well, combined, I've been in Copenhagen for 7 years, and I've been the past 3 years, 3.5, almost 4 years at Suave in Copenhagen, at Arke Suave. mainly where I do my MMA, my jiu-jitsu. I have one of my head coaches there. The thing I do at Malmo Muay Thai is that I have my striking coach there.
Okay.
And it's the only place that's like 5 minutes from me. Or else Copenhagen is a bit further away. Takes me roughly an hour to get there. But I'm switching between both of them. Like when I'm not in Copenhagen, I'm there, and when I'm not in Malmo Muay Thai, I'm in Copenhagen.
So are you telling the Americans that you're actually training outside of your country every day, kind of thing?
Yeah, I do. I go over to another country every day, and I have a lot of people who've been asking me for years, like it's so funny, like not even regular people, like people that are actually running gyms and are head coaches. They're like dealing with fighting every day. Why I even travel? Why do I go so far? I'm like, and then I asked them a question. I was like, okay, you're a head coach. You're a really good head coach. You have a good team here, and you have one of your fighters, like a fighter calls you up and says, I really want to train for you, but I live 1 hour away. Would you tell that person not to come? Or would you tell that person to put some energy away from other things that are not important for you and try to come over here so we can get a good training together? Because I think I really can make you a better fighter. Or would you tell that person that, no, it's too far, don't come here. It's only 1 hour. Like, and I'm pretty shocked that people are even asking that. Like, this is my full-time job. I mean, I only teach and train. So me going 1 hour somewhere to train, that's not so bad. That's not so, that doesn't pull my training down at all, because it's what I do. I mean, I don't have a full-time job aside from 9 to 5. So I see it as an investment in myself. So I take the training and everything, but I invest in myself. I'm getting better. That means I get better fights. That means when I get a better paycheck. That means I'm investing in myself. And I think it's kind of like gives you a bit more motivation. If you have to go all the way over there to get better, that means I curse so much all the way there. I'm like, I'm so tired. I don't want to go on the train. And then when I'm there, I'm doing my training and I'm done. I feel so much better going home. I think it's not so easy. Like if I have my gym like next to me all the time, I don't need to go anywhere. It's right there. And maybe I won't try as hard. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it like that.
That's some great gym motivation there as well. It's always the thing of going to the gym that's the worst part, but once you kind of get it done, then you feel good going home afterwards.
I remember for the Moscow fight, so I have a bike in Copenhagen and etc. So I biked all the way to training. Because like it's a lot of buses and a lot of traffic in Copenhagen. Everybody's like, oh, I want to go to Copenhagen. I'm like, don't go. So much people. It's just a little crowded place. So I put my bike there, and it's like a 20-minute bike ride, pretty nice ride. But it's so windy in Sweden and Denmark. It's so fucking windy, especially in the south of Sweden. We have oceans all over the place. It's so windy. And I got my huge bag with my gear, and I'm riding on the bike, and I just get wind for 25 minutes straight. And I come to the gym, and I have 2 hours of training in front of me, and I get so mad because I'm so sweaty and I'm so tired.
So you go in and they ask you to warm up, and you're standing there like,
yeah, I'm already warm, and I get so mad, but I do a really good workout, and then I feel much better after. But sometimes I think about that day where I was so tired because train in the morning and I teach and do my classes, and then I'm going all the way there in the wind.
Well, speaking of wind, everyone might see that the backdrop is different behind me. I'm actually in Iceland at the moment, and a huge storm has just hit, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Storms here too. It's still stormy here. I don't know. So it gives you motivation as well, and it motivates you too that your partner is also training. It would be weird being together with somebody that wouldn't train. I would get so frustrated. I think I would get really frustrated if the person I'm living with is not training, is not taking care of themselves. It's not even about, eating clean all the time, because I don't. If my nutrition knew how much chocolate I've been eating for the last week, would be so mad at me.
We'll keep it quiet.
It's not about the diet. It's just like it's about going to work and not doing anything after, not moving. Like, I would think it would be so weird. I don't know if I could make it with somebody and I'm not training.
So is he training in the same clubs as you?
Yeah, we train together. We do all sorts of classes together. But it hasn't always been like that either, because somebody needs to work. He has a good job, and he works from 8 to 5, and he still maintains to train with me and do all the workouts and helping me for my fights too. He's been helping coaching me for a couple of years now. So, and I didn't even ask. I just said, "Hey, you want to go?" And then it just became like that. And I just threw him in the water. I didn't even ask him if he wanted to. I just assumed that he would. So bad. So now we've been preparing him for his pro fight. So if I know now how horrible it is to live with somebody in camp, because it's so hard.
So he will be competing in, is it 1 week or 2 weeks? Is that correct?
2 weeks. So not this weekend, but next weekend.
Okay.
So we driving to Västerås.
So everyone, if you're not in Västerås, you should check that out on Fight TV.
Yes, you can stream it on Facebook, I think. Right?
Okay, I thought it was a pay-per-view on Fight TV, but maybe.
It could be. Don't ask me. I'm not good at that stuff. But I think it's a free stream.
So would you say?
And they have a lot of good fights.
Would you say that your place and everything right now is perfect for you, or have you planned any kind of move to the stateside or anything like that?
I would never move to the States, honestly. I don't even know why you would move to the States. First I thought it would be great, much better training, like a whole level of training in the States. And maybe it was a few years back when MMA wasn't so big in Europe, but people are going to Europe now to train MMA because it's so good. And I'm in one of the best gyms in Europe. I mean, we have the best jiu-jitsu in Europe at Arsenal. So, and MMA is growing so much. So I like doing camps at home. I have everything I need. Sometimes I go away if there's somebody I've been going with before, like training with before. If I have like Cornelia at home, my friends to spar with, then I just go over there. But I don't like to go to other people's teams, maybe future opponents' teams, and they should tell me that they're the best, and I should feel under them. You know what I mean? That I can't get better than them. That's not what I want. I just want to be with my team and try to get better every day, because I think that's the biggest problem people do, is that maybe they're winning their fights, they do so good, they get a good contract, let's say they get into Bellator or one of the and UFC, and from there, from having a really good record and doing all the stuff correctly, when they get into UFC, maybe they start doing things totally different. They move to like another country, they do full camps in, I don't know, somewhere like 20 hours of flight away from here. They do like all different kind of like movement shit on TV because they get a brand new contract. But I mean, you're winning for a reason. I just think that the grass is not greening on our side all the time.
Yeah, I guess the media is showing a lot of Europeans that are moving to the stateside, but people in the MMA world will see that a lot of Europeans are actually going to the Scandinavian countries to join their gyms.
I mean, I think the training in the States is really good. Is it that much better than Europe? No. I mean, I think we have a really good level of MMA, and yeah. I mean, I like being home training for a fight as well. I don't like to be with a lot of people that I don't know, and you're gonna make me ready for my fight. I don't know. It's like when we were in Yuma, it was only people I knew that I've been training with. And sometimes if I go somewhere, I usually just want to go with my team.
So, when will you be heading over to Brazil then? And is it your first time going there?
Yeah, it's my first time going to Brazil. So we fly to Sao Paulo at the beginning of May. So roughly a week before the fight, and that feels good. I mean, it's not a big of a time difference, and I know people talk a lot about the flight and the jet lag, but I don't really believe in jet lag, so that never affects me at all. So I just think that your body adjusts. I think people think about it too much. Because if you believe in jet lag and think that your performance is based on jet lag, then you don't really know why you won and why you lost.
And you're like, I don't have jet lag. I train in a different country, so it doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
that was one of the things I never brought up in Tough because I thought it will be brought up because I think 5-10 hours of 24 of a day, I talked about how I don't believe in jet lag, and I can't believe they didn't even put that up because every time everybody talks about fight, I'm like, it's not real. Jet lag is not real. It's just something that you think is weird because you want an excuse if something goes wrong. That's what I think.
That could be a thing.
So when fighters say, no, it was a long flight, it was a jet lag, I'm like, nope, that was not. Pissing a lot of fighters off right now. They're like, I based my whole loss on the jet lag.
Yeah, I don't think Ronda Rousey is watching this, so she can't blame that for Australia, kind of thing.
I'm like, Ronda, it was not the jet lag, it was you. No, it could be any fighter. It could be any fighter. It's not the jet lag, it's you. Because I mean, the reason why I know that is because I had good performances when I had jet lag, and I had bad performances when I was not jet lagged. So I just don't believe in it. It's just easier to say it's not exist. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. So if everything goes the way that you're planning and you defeat your opponent at UFC 250, what will be next for you?
I mean, there's another bantamweight fight on the card. I mean, that would. I mean, I know Mario Renault is fighting Kenny Vieira, and I mean, it would be cool if the winner of our fights fight each other. That would be a good idea, but then I don't want to think about that. I'm just really excited for this fight. What happens after, whatever happens. It doesn't matter to me.
So no preparation of a after fight speech.
No, I don't even know what to say. Nobody's ever interviewed me in the octagon anyway. So, okay.
That sounded a bit bitter there. But that happens a lot with the Europeans.
Maybe it's up to me to win first. No, but it's nice to get a bit of get a spotlight as well when I go to Brazil. I mean, it's really cool. That's one of my checklist countries that I want to fight in anyway. So that would be awesome.
So what's the rest on the list?
I have a guest.
Oh, Biggie is joining us.
Japan will be cool. Because I fought in the States and I fought in Russia. That's a huge thing too. But the Moscow wasn't the first time. I fought in Russia before. But it will be cool.
I did ask your dog to be in a podcast earlier, but he declined. So.
Oh, he declined. Yeah, he's playing hard to get. He hasn't really accepted all his friend requests.
Oh, I see.
But he feels that he wants to do an interview with me instead. It's okay.
Okay. So one other thing I was thinking of, the fight name Banzai. So where did that come from?
It's a World War II thing that I think it was people in Japan. They were calling Saint Banzai when they were going to war. It means leave no survivors. And especially just the word Banzai, I thought it was pretty cool with my name.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
And I just stick to that. I like Banzai. It's like, it's not usually like a fight name out there, like fight names. It's not like, I don't know, the nightmare, stuff like that. It's just, it melts into my name.
It's not like every person that calls themselves the Great that is called Alexander.
Yeah, exactly, great.
So, one more thing. So if you have any kind of inspiring things for women that want to try MMA and want to get into MMA, as someone that is one of the biggest female Swedish stars at the moment, what would you give them for some advice?
I know a lot of people are hesitating to try it because they're like, oh, it's only guys there. I can't go with anybody else. No guy want to go with me and stuff like that. Just like, go in there and ruin somebody's day. Just go in there and get matched up with a dude, and he's like, oh my god, I have to go with a girl, do drills. Just go in there and ruin their day, and just that's the most funny thing I heard, because in classes they're like, no, they don't want to go with a girl. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. Just go in there and fuck your 1 hour up. Just like that.
So show them who's boss.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for letting me be on the podcast.
Oh, you're very welcome. And if you have any sponsors or people that you want to give a shout out, to do it now.
So, thank you to my team, Mark Suave and Mama Mutai, my strength conditioning coach, Max, and my nutritionist, Giuliano. Oh, I'm missing so many people right now, but let's just say them. It's just like those are main. Yeah, just check me out before when I go to Brazil and fight on UFC 250. It's gonna be epic.
And we'll see you at Fight Club Rush as well.
Yeah, follow Biggie on Instagram, Biggie the Pug. That's it. I'll see you on Fight Club Rush.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. I'll leave your Instagram and Biggie's Instagram below. And thank you for being on the show. And have a great week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.